Hey folks, welcome back to Todd Bosley's world famous YouTube channel. We're the channel that brings you vital information that you need to know about precious metals, coins, and gold and silver. Today we have something very interesting. So this came into my shop, and I have to tell you ahead of time, it's already been taken apart. But I think I can give you enough information on this to make you understand what I'm talking about. So this is the watch. If you turn the watch over, I'm not going to show you that part, there was a face inside of here. And it was a nasty looking face. So the customer that brought this in said, oh, this is not real. I think that it's just an old watch. And I looked at it and I said, I'm looking at the back of it. It doesn't look that good. Now, I've probably opened, let's just say 50 at least of these watches. And they were just junk, just what the customer said. However, this one was different. So when I opened the back of this watch, I'm going to show you what I found. Turn it around here so you can see. None of it was marked on the back, but you can see right here, it says Wadsworth 14 karat solid gold. Now, if I was not an honest dealer, I could have bought this for $1, or they may even thrown it away in my trash can. So, as a little extra to this program, and as a cautionary tale to all of you about why you need to get this checked by professionals before you donate it to Goodwill or just throw it in the garbage. If you look at the back of this watch, there's nothing special about it. You would say that's gold plated. If you would have seen the face of this watch, you would have said it was junk. But this watch actually ends up being worth more than $250 just in 14 karat gold. Tonight we're joined by Tony DeNegris. Tony has been a friend of mine for a long time. He has over 60 years in the business. He is a pocket watch expert. He's a coin expert. And most importantly, he is a precious metals expert. Tony, how you doing tonight?
How are you, Todd? I'm doing fine.
Well, I'm doing fine also. Tell me what you think about this watch and tell our viewers why it's so important to get even what you may think is junk checked.
Well, what you alerted me to is a very common thing that takes place today. And I don't mean just today, this day. I mean, in this time period, people are trying to dispose of things that they may have inherited or collected over years and put in their drawer, and bagged up old watches, and we see a lot of that stuff accumulated. And watches go bad after a while. People get sick of wearing the same one. They'll buy another one, and then they'll put that in a drawer. But you said pocket watch. This is a pocket watch, right?
Well, actually, let me correct myself. This was a wristwatch, is what it was, but it's also the same size as a pocket watch. But this particular one had a band, and I'm showing where the band was connected before, and it was marked 1/20th rolled gold. It had like a fake emerald in it. So this actually was a wristwatch, but in the same fashion as a pocket watch.
All right, I understand. However, what I'm going to tell you applies to both. I'm glad we got that part out of the way, because you originally we were talking about pocket watches earlier.
Yeah.
When you first told me about this, these things are quite valuable if you know how to find them. But the problem today is many people that have accumulation of old watches don't know. And you said somebody brought this into you in a bag of jewelry or a bag of old watches and assorted items. They wanted to see what the value was.
Yeah, they actually
anything valuable in there.
They didn't think there was anything valuable in there. They actually said, "Oh, this is just a bag of junk." If you want to look through it, and I'm showing the back of the watch right now, and you can see like multiple scratches. It's definitely torn up, and there is no identification number. There's no marking until you actually open it up. And Tony, maybe you could explain a little bit about how to open these watches and why it's so important to get it open to look at them before you just give them away.
Sure. But what happened in your case? They brought this to your, and I'll do that momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that they brought all this stuff into you, and you opened it right in front of them, and you found it right as they were standing there, and alerted them as to what they had?
Well, first of all, when I saw it, I didn't think it was anything. But my years of experience have taught me that even if you don't think it's anything, it's worth opening just to see. That's how we got to where we're at.
That's what I like about your operation over there, Todd. That impressed me when I saw how you do that, and in your setup. Many of these places that buy this stuff, they'll buy junk jewelry. There's always a little bit of value to almost everything that comes in. Some of the stuff, even though it's plated or gold filled, etc., will have a little bit of value. But so there are people that buy that stuff. But when you bring in something to a pawn shop, and they in a situation precisely like we're talking about here, the customer is never going to be told the truth. It's going to get tossed in with everything else. And if there's an astute buyer at a pawn shop and they know what this thing is or so forth, they're not going to alert the customer. So these people that go into pawn shops with this stuff is they're opening themselves up to be taken. And I'm just glad that this customer brought it to you, because I know how you operate there, and I'm sure you treated them well and gave them a good deal. And it was the right thing to do for people. But people in general today do not know how to look for precious metals in the jewelry they have. And that's pretty much a whole avenue that can be opened up for that, for a learning experience that a lot of people could attain if they're given the right information.
Yeah, I view it as a treasure hunt. So even when the worst junk shows up, I really take the time and the effort to see what's there and if I can make my customers some money. And here's why I do it, because I know if I make my customer money, they're going to tell their friends about me. And if they ever figure out that I ripped them off, which I would never do, although I have to say the area that I'm in, I'm near the Canton, Ohio area, and I have very limited competition. And the competition that I do have, I've sold to them prior to being in business, which is part of the reason why I'm in business. And I just don't feel like they're very fair. So this was exciting for this customer because they just couldn't believe it. The lady actually called her husband and said, "You're not going to believe what we found in here." And that $250 was something that they really needed, and it was just a good thing to do. I love it when it's a win-win situation, not when just one person wins. But when you look at the back of this watch, I'm telling you, when I looked at it, I thought, yeah, it's probably not, but let's go ahead and take the time and pop it open. And when we popped it open and I showed him this, and it says 14 karat solid gold, which we know 14 karat is not solid gold. And Tony, I'll let you explain that. It was just a really great day at Ohio Trading Coin and Jewelry.
Well, okay, great. That's well, I'm glad you did that for that customer. That was the right thing to do, and there is a certain satisfaction you get by treating customers the proper way. And today you don't see that a lot. All right, about 14 karat gold, 10 karat gold, 18 karat gold. Watches can be made out of any variety of gold. If they're from another country, in Europe, they could be 9 karat. They can be, I've even seen watches that are 22 karat from Asia. There's all kinds of gold that can be put in. And the difference in carat value is basically the solid gold is pure gold as it's refined, and it's mixed with other metals in various proportions, and that's how it's determined whether it's 10 karat, 14 karat, 18 karat, or what have you. Basically, 14 parts out of 24. That's all it is. Simple math. You divide that up and you get 58.5% gold in a 14 karat item. And it's very simple. But the other metals that are in there are probably brass. Sometimes it's a little silver mixed in or a little copper. And they do it in various combinations depending on how they want the final look to be. And then naturally the coloring of the watch. You can have rose gold, you can have white gold. So there's different metals that they put in to get the coloring. But the percentage of pure gold is always whatever it's marked, divide that by 24 and you get the percentage. And that is what, when they say solid gold, they mean it's solid 14, not solid 100% gold. It's 14 karat based on the mathematical percentage. And when they say solid, what it means is it's not plated and it's not rolled gold.
Right.
And it's not gold filled. Those are other types of gold varieties that are done in a lot of different watches. But solid gold means precisely whatever the number is stamped on there, you're going to get that, all that in the body of the watch.
I went through this watch. I analyzed it, and it is mostly copper. So it's 10 parts copper, 14 parts gold. But part of that copper also has silver in it too. So I was able to pay the customer for a little bit of silver out of this, and they were just amazed by it. I wish I would have kept the face, but quite honestly, the face was just so awful. It was worn out. This watch had looked like it'd been through 5 wars, not just one. And nobody would have thought this was real. It was just scratched up. It's gold in color, but as you know, most are gold in color. But it just looks like it's plated gold, which we all know is worth nothing. But it wasn't until we pulled this back piece off that we realized we had a winner here. And it was just a very exciting transaction. I've had hundreds of these happen. And I've had people come in also who say, I wish I would have had you look at the stuff before I got rid of it. So I guess the lesson out of this is most of the time when you bring a watch in like this, it's probably not going to be worth a whole lot. But there's a fair chance, especially if it's got a gold back like this that's blank, it doesn't say anything. If you don't see anything, you got to open it up to see what it says. Now, most of the time when you open it up, it's not going to be a positive outcome. But sometimes it is, and in this case, it was worth a lot of money. So this customer has other watches at home, and now they want to bring those in, including pocket watches and wristwatches. So I just thought it was worth doing this video to give an education to our customer. It's easy to say, no, let's not keep that. Let's just get rid of it, throw it out. But, you know, these days, $250 is a lot of money to everybody. Believe me, it is.
Oh, I totally agree. There's just one point I want to make about watches in general. A lot of people don't or may not understand or even realize. Because you mentioned that the face on this watch, meaning you probably meant the dial and the associated movement, was pretty beat up.
Yes.
Understand that many times, even if you have a watch that's not gold, it could be gold, not solid gold. I'll take that back. Not solid gold. It could be gold filled. Now, gold filled, all right, in pocket watches is different from gold filled in what they call jewelry today, gold filled jewelry today. Gold filled back in the day when pocket watches were being made, and also very good brand name, higher grade wristwatches. The gold filling then meant that it's a base metal filled with gold, all right, and it's a percentage, but that is not the same as gold filled today.
Yeah, it's worth more money.
Explain, it really
right.
is.
Yeah.
If you're not in the business, but what I want to point out is that customers that or anybody who has any accumulated collections or just items that they've kept for years that are gold in general should never throw them away. They should bring them into somebody who's a reputable dealer and have them look at item by item and determine what it is, because I can't imagine, like you said earlier, how many of these things have probably been thrown in the trash can over the years and just gone to the scrap to the junkyard. But a lot of these watches have good mechanisms in them too.
Yes.
And some of those mechanisms can be valuable, especially if they're, for instance, old, higher quality European names like Gerard Perregaux. That's a very valuable mechanism. So even if the watch is not gold, if it's that brand name, and there's many of them, different ones, the mechanism is worth saving, and it can be sold to watch collectors. So I would, anybody who brings things into your store is probably going to get an examination better than they're going to ever get by bringing it to some pawn shop or something. And a lot of these places that just buy gold and buy jewelry and buy whatever, people bring in collections and they get taken because they don't do the time, to analyze for the customer.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't
away
even
with
take
very
any
little.
time, really. And I would never sell anything in a pawn shop. I can tell you that for sure, because you're just asking to be taken advantage of. But at Ohio Trading Coin and Jewelry, we investigate, we get down to business, we try to get you, the customer, the most money that we can, because we believe that brings better business to us. And this is just one of those unusual pieces that could have easily been donated. About 2 months ago, I had a similar situation, and it was with about 6 different watches. And the lady had come in, and she said that she just decided she was going to donate it. But her husband said, you ought to just go get those checked out. And do you know all 6 of those watches were gold? All
That's
6.
amazing.
6 in a row, yeah. And I paid her a lot of money. I don't want to disclose that amount, but boy, was she happy. And they were much bigger than these. So it really pays to take the time to figure out what you have before you get rid of it or just throw it out. A lot of the older pocket watches and wristwatches have parts on them that are worth money. Like Tony said, even maybe the mechanism is worth money. Maybe the case is worth money. It's just hard to say. But the moral of this story, folks, is real simple. Get it checked before you give it away, because you may be throwing a lot of money out the door. Somebody's going to walk into Goodwill. They're going to buy it for $1, take it home, pop this off, and they're going to be in the money. So it might as well be you that's in the money. Tony, thank you for your information tonight. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Todd Bosley. I'm the owner of Ohio Trading Coin and Jewelry. We're located in Louisville, Ohio, which is right next to Canton, Ohio. We buy and sell throughout the USA. So if you have anything that you want to sell, I'd like to take a look at it. You can text me. My number is 330-323-9775. I'm happy to talk to you on the phone. You can send me a picture, text me. My email is also on the card. And we can start to see what you have and see if it's worth anything. But folks, listen when I say this. Regardless of what kind of jewelry you have, get it checked out before you just give it away or sell it or throw it away, because even seasoned professionals are still amazed, especially in the watch area, what something might be worth. Tony, thanks for your time tonight. I really appreciate all of your help. I know that all my viewers love what you do and love what you have to say. You are a true professional, and thanks for being a part of my show. Folks, I hope you'll check out all of the Todd Bosley world famous videos. We have a lot of other interesting videos that'll teach you a lot about gold and silver and how to make some extra money. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, folks. Bye-bye.